Welcome to Whispers to a Bride, where we talk about the stuff no one else is talking about. We are going deep on the emotional aspects of getting married, the stress, drama, and turbulence that affects your own sense of identity and your closest relationships. We are talking about what it means to be a bride and how to navigate this sacred time with more grace and ease. I'm your host, Kara Gasabay. As a life coach and therapist, I'm going to be sharing super practical tips so that you can not only rise to the occasion of your wedding, but also your life. Hello, and welcome. I am so excited to talk to you today. And our topic is parents have feelings about your wedding. I put this post on TikTok about parents having feelings about you getting married and we need to talk about it. And it was a little bit provocative because I feel like there is sort of in the narrative right now a lot of focus on the couple and obviously centering themselves in this process. Again, totally normal. This is a commitment you're making, your decision, your life. And for the most part, I think it's really, really smart and really, really healthy and necessary. And then there is this way in which, like anything, it can go too far. And I think that can sometimes happen when there's this whole thing of it's just about the couple and nobody else matters. And whatever the parents are trying to do is just needs to be kept, at arm's length, or they need to be told that they are not involved, or their friends are not invited, or their opinions are not welcome. And a real build the wall between your parents and you in this wedding process. And I just think for some people, of course, there's always exceptions. Please remember that I am fully aware that there are toxic parent-child relationships that sometimes meeting your partner really helps you understand and see a healthy way of moving forward, which might not include a close bond with your parent. That aside, though, for many people, we don't want our wedding to fracture or damage or stress or strain our relationship with our parent in this time, right? We want to feel celebratory and excited and supported and loved and approved of. And I think that sometimes as the bride, we just don't leave a lot of space for our parents to have their feelings about our wedding because it can be pretty annoying, right? We're going through so much on our end in terms of processing the feelings and making all the decisions and going through this big life milestone. And all we want is for our parents to just hush up and support us and approve of us, maybe pay for the wedding and just make it easy on us, right? There's that instinct. I know I have felt that with my parents during some sort of stressful points where I'm you just have to not cause problems for me. You just need to be helpful to me. And it makes sense. That is basically your parents' sort of role in your growing up. But we got to remember that parents are just going to have feelings about this day. This day is a big deal for them too. And I know some of y'all don't want to hear that. And I'm just you cannot want to hear it, but it doesn't mean it's not true. I think that what I think is so important, if you're having some conflict with your parents around your wedding, because that's going to happen, right? They are going to have ideas about it. They're going to have people they want to invite or food they want to have or religious aspects they want to incorporate or just a host of things, standards of etiquette that they think that you should comply to. I mean, I have heard all the variations of sort of the conflict with parents and the couple during the wedding planning. And it's all happening and it's all true. But what I would like to encourage you as a bride going through this really sort of tender and intense moment with your parents is just the really subtle, simple act of taking a moment to step outside of your role and your perspective and just into theirs just for a moment, right? People say don't judge someone until you've walked a mile in their shoes. Old cliche. And yet it's really true and it's really helpful. And just to sort of help you do that, I just want you to like take a pause and remember that your parents have been there for all of your major milestones. They freaked out when you first rolled over. They flipped out when you took your first steps. They recorded your first word. They bit their, fingernails as they're watching you, like in your first sports competition, or crying, sobbing when you got your first award, and just crumbling alongside you when you had your first heartbreak or big rejection. Like all of the milestones that you've had, they have been emotionally very connected with you and just wanting the best for you and wanting everything to work out and everything to be great and for you to find yourself and live your best life and all the things, right? They were investing in you emotionally and assisting you, and watching you go through these milestones was just a very emotional time for them because they're both so excited and proud, but they're also, like, just overwhelmed by the sheer, like, growing up process, right? Like, now that I am a mom of a 5 and 7-year-old, I'm like, it is bananas to see somebody and have their whole life in your heart, in your memory, and these days, in the phone. Like, you can just easily bring up your entire life and trace it, and it's just each milestone is just really intense because you never know as a parent how it's gonna go. You don't know if you've done a good enough job preparing them. You don't know if they can handle it because, like, before the first time you couldn't, but now all of a sudden you can. And so I really clearly wanna just take a hammer and make this point, is that this is a milestone. It's a really major milestone, and while you're an adult now and you can make your own decisions and have chosen this person and dated people and gotten to this point on your own in many ways as an adult out in the world, it's still just a big milestone moment. And that's going to bring up just a lot of feelings, like exciting and nostalgic and sad and hopeful and scary feelings for the parent. They want this to be a good marriage. They want it to be okay. They want the wedding to be wonderful. And I just want you to make space for all of those emotions because once you do, you'll allow some of it just needs to have airtime, right? Some of it just needs to be expressed. And that's what I often work with my brides on. Like, instead of just going to war over a menu or a religious component of the ceremony or a guest list issue, like, take the time to get underneath those sort of logistical, external, detail oriented wedding issues and get to like what's right under it. Like, what are the emotions that they're feeling? And maybe talk to them about just like, how did you see this going? And what are the ways in which they are surprised and delighted? And what are the ways in which they are just like completely out of their element and confused and overwhelmed and unsure? And what are the ways in which they don't know what their roles should be? What are the ways that they wish they could do more for you? Or just, there's just a lot of things, right, that want to be said and that want to be acknowledged and that want to be known. And I think sometimes when we are in a stressed out place that wedding planning brings us to, we just can't make a lot of space for our parents' feelings. And then we just turn it into conflict and war over these like wedding details when a lot of that in many cases can be really avoided if we just sit down and just talk through like, okay, what are we feeling about this? What's going on with you? Why are you being so just rigid, or why are you being so distant, or why, like, what's going on and what are you feeling about this wedding? And just getting your parent to really talk through what's going on can be so helpful because then you can really start to get a sense of like what matters most. What are the like emotional touch points that are just like really getting them spun up and anxious and whatever. So for some, that might be they want this hands on involvement in parts of the wedding to feel like they were a part of creating it and making it happen. Now, you might be like, I've got a planner, I've got a spreadsheet, I've done my research, I don't really need your help. And yet, if you hear from your mom, for example, that she wants to be a part of the creation of it, like doing the things, like she packed your lunch and she did, like she folded your clothes and she's so used to doing hands on project based stuff, like maybe then you can realize, okay, there are parts of this that like I don't care about and I don't need to be in control of that I could give her to do, right? Like takeaway gifts or escort cards or just giving someone a way to be actively engaged in the creation of the event can be very useful and therapeutic and connecting. Even though you don't need it, don't realize that it might be a beautiful gesture of love and caretaking that really your mom needs and wants in this big milestone moment. If it is not causing any harm to you, let her have that, right? I'm very into like letting people in who are close to you and you do love in a way that like maybe you hadn't thought of, but like it means something to them. And yeah, let's acknowledge too that there's a lot of ego that can show up around weddings. And there's a lot of sort of social posturing and like parents sometimes want to invite people in their social circle that you're like, what? No, I don't know those people. They're not close to me. Like they don't know my fiance. Like, and so you can talk through that. I am never saying like you got to do everything your parents want and you got to turn it all over to them. But I am saying that like the more you hear out what is really important and maybe why it's really important, you'll be much more creative in your negotiating and in your compromising when you really understand what's going on with your parent. And as well as you think you know them, the wedding is kind of a new frontier and they might be doing a thing that they don't usually do. And that's why I just want to sort of remind you that this can be not only that emotional, like time is passing, milestone, relationship changing, family dynamic changing, like all of that stuff we've talked about, but also just the wedding itself can be such a show of like history and culture and family values and not to mention wealth and taste and etiquette and society status and all of that kind of stuff. Weddings have always been very much a part of that whole scene as well. And however that sort of intersects with what you want your wedding to be about, that can often be a source of conflict as well. And so again, these are not like it's not like these are not real issues and they don't need hard decision making sometimes. But I just want you to make sure you back up and figure out the thing beneath the thing and just realize your parents are going to have feelings about your wedding, like lots of feelings. And I don't think that it's your job to make them feel happy and satisfied and in control and perfect about all of it. I do think that weddings, it is the time for a parent to be challenged, to rise to the occasion, to see their child as an adult who's got their own perspective and their own agenda and their own just way of operating and having an event. But I do always think there is a beautiful opportunity to have your parents brought into it, the things that matter to them, because it is sort of that changing of the family unit. And I really just think families are such a big part of it. And also reminding yourself, like, someday that might be you as well if you plan on having children. And wouldn't you want to just be considered and incorporated and respected through the process, which does not mean you get your way and you get to have everything you want, but to be heard, to be acknowledged, to be loved and appreciated and considered in the process, I just think is really huge. I just heard a couple examples lately of brides being like, none of my parents' friends are on the guest list. Absolutely not. And their parents are like, wow, we've been talking about your wedding for 30 years. Like, you kind of, as the child, you might not sort of see the way in which your parents' social network has been deeply, deeply invested in your childhood. And this wedding can often be just like a big woohoo celebration, like finish line of sorts to the marathon of parenting. And so I think to the extent you can, letting your parents have that moment will only add more joy and meaning and love to your wedding. Of course, asterisks, lots of exceptions can apply, you know. And if you don't know, maybe that's something I can help you figure out. I work one-on-one with brides. You know, my bridal sessions are like gold. Every bride, it's like the most luxurious yet necessary basic thing you could do. It's like somehow it's both those things. And it's so fun because we never really know where it's gonna go. It's such a intuitive and creative and, like, co-creative experience with the 2 of us really just holding your issue and your problem and uncovering it, unkinking it, and discovering what's in it for you. What message do you need from this? What do you need moving forward? Like, just returning you back to your highest, best self and your own inner wisdom. And so, anyway, I'm very preachy today. But if you're like struggling with the parent thing, give them a chance to have their feelings and then call me and we'll figure out like how to like set the line in a way that feels really good for you. So, okay, you know where to find me. Love you so much. Until next time, I am wishing you nothing but bridal bliss.